everybody. Welcome to a special edition of Hashing Out the Law. This is Meet the CCBA edition. Today, my guest is Jesse Arana. Jesse is president-elect, which means he will be the president of the association next year. Hi, Jesse. How are you?
Hey, Arash, I'm doing well, and that's only if I don't get impeached, so don't jinx me.
Well, don't worry. If you do get impeached, we can have a talk and maybe I won't vote for impeachment. But all joking aside, let's move on to why we're here. We're here to get to know you a little bit better. I know you joined the organization in 2014, but before that, you were actually a prosecutor in Ventura County. And me and you were talking before, and I do not like Ventura County. Uh, and I mean the court system, not the county in general. So tell us a little bit about what it was like being a prosecutor in that county and some of your experiences, please.
Yeah, so that was my first ever job as an attorney. So I came in with big eyes, thinking that I could change the world, that I can help my community, because in Ventura, there's a lot of farm workers, a lot of Latinos working on the farm. So I thought I could help these people, I could protect these people. But I quickly realized that I did not call the shots. I had no say in terms of what I can do in terms of plea negotiations, changing the charges, and it just got overwhelming. I got emotionally drained, and my plan was to be a prosecutor for at least 5 years before starting my practice, but I couldn't handle it, and so I left after about 2 years and started my own practice.
So you only lasted 2 years in Ventura County as a prosecutor. Wow.
Yeah.
And then your current practice or your office is in Los Angeles County. You're actually in Downey, I believe.
Yeah, that's right. Good
So
memory.
Ventura to Downey, how did that happen?
Yeah, so it was more of a move from to Ventura. So Ventura was the first place that gave me a job offer. It was Ventura and San Diego, and families in Los Angeles County. At that time, my fiance was living in LA County as well, so that was the closest place for me. But I'm born and raised in LA County, born and raised in Commerce, and so I just wanted to come back home.
That was going to be my next question. So you're originally from LA County, born and raised in Commerce. Tell us, where'd you go to school?
I went to different places, but in high school, I went to Sure High School. That's over there in Montebello.
And where'd you do your undergrad?
Undergrad, UC Santa Cruz.
Oh, UC Santa Cruz. Never been there. I heard it's very nice and it's a good party school. They're the banana slugs, aren't they?
Yeah, banana slugs, the mighty banana slugs.
And where'd you go to law school?
University of San Francisco.
Nice. So you traveled all over the state.
Yeah, pretty much. When I was a kid, I just wanted to get out and explore, and so that's how I ended up at UC Santa Cruz. It was actually going to be either UC Santa Cruz or University of Hawaii, and I thought if I went to Hawaii, I was not going to get anything done. So
I know someone who actually went to Hawaii as a study abroad program, and it was weird to me. Usually people go to other countries, but this person went to Hawaii. But hey, better than nowhere.
Yeah, why not?
Let me ask you this. What made you want to get into criminal defense or criminal law to begin with?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So my undergrad bachelor's is in economics. So when I was in college, I thought that I was going to pursue a legal career in business litigation. And so during my first year of law school, they had this program over there in the Bay Area where you get put in a big firm, and you get that big firm experience during your first summer of law school. And so I got a gig, and it was awesome. I'm this young kid on like the 20th floor of the building, had my own secretary, and it was just amazing. It was crazy. But I hated the work. I remember this one case vividly. It was, this is before Uber and Lyft, and our client was Yellow Cab Taxi in San Francisco. And so that was huge back then. And my job was to look at or do case research to see what can we use to argue that these cab drivers were independent contractors versus employees. And man, I thought that was bullshit. Like, my dad's a trucker, my father-in-law's a trucker, and the whole point of that is to not pay them benefits, not pay them overtime. And I did my due diligence, I did what I was told to do, but it was just something I hated. I didn't like that. That wasn't for me. I know that they deserve a good legal representation, but I'm not the guy for that. And then fast forward to my second year of law school, I met one of my mentors, Daniel Flores, up in San Francisco. So he had his own practice. He did criminal defense, and I worked for him, and I just fell in love with it. This was something where I can help someone immediately get great results. We had this one case where it was a hit and run, and it was a nurse, a single mom, and she got a call from her son's school that said, "Hey, your kid got injured. You need to pick him up." So she's freaking out. She drives, she hits a parked car and flees. Fast forward, she gets charged with a misdemeanor hit and run. Now, this is when civil compromise was, you can apply to hit and run cases. And my mentor at that time, he said, "All right, Jesse, you're going to argue for civil compromise. You're going to argue for this dismissal." And I did. I studied. I put my heart and soul into it. And yeah, I mean, the judge didn't really ask too much, and it was granted. The case was dismissed, and we called the client over, and she came over and she thanked Daniel, and she said, and Daniel's like, "No, no, no, Jesse did it," and she thanked me, hugged me, and she was crying, and I wanted to repeat that feeling. I was addicted to that. That's what I love to do, and so that's how I got this passion for criminal law, that this is something that I can use to defend someone's constitutional rights and get the best possible outcome that will change their life for the better.
So that was the moment you decided criminal law is your field of choice, and that's what you're going to do.
Absolutely. That was it. That one case was like, this is what I got to do. And there's plenty of other cases, but that was that one case that said, this is my purpose in life. This is my career in life. It's criminal defense.
All right. Now I'm going to ask you another question, which I ask everybody, and people ask me, and I'm sure you've been asked this before. You knew that moment when you were going to be a criminal defense lawyer or you were going to be in criminal law. Let's go back. When was that moment in your life that you decided that you're going to be a lawyer, and what happened, and describe it to us?
Yeah. There's a lot of different things that led me to want to be a lawyer.
That first instant that the idea was planted in your head. How was that seed planted?
All right. All right. So that seed was planted. I'm sorry about that. That was so unprofessional. That seed was planted actually by my grandpa. So I have a pretty good relationship with my grandpa, my dad's dad, and I told him about the possibility of being a lawyer, and he told me of this lawyer, and I didn't know this lawyer who helped my dad and his brothers get asylum. So to give you some background, my family's from El Salvador. They're born and raised in El Salvador, and then this is during the Civil War. So they came into the United States, and it came without permission, illegally. My dad and his brothers were put in deportation proceedings, were held in ICE detention facilities. And my grandpa, a religious man, he went to church, talked to his pastor, and the pastor was like, "Oh yeah, we got this member who's a lawyer. Maybe he can help you." And this guy, pro bono, represented my dad and his brothers and got them asylum and got them out of deportation proceedings. And that's when I thought, oh shit, sorry for my language, but oh shit, like this is amazing. Not only did this lawyer save my dad's life, and it's essentially my life, because if that didn't happen, I don't know where I would be. But because this person was a lawyer, he was able to do that. And so I looked more into it, and I thought, yeah, this is what I want to do. Lawyers have the power to change the world for the better. I mean, if you look at same-sex marriage, lawyers are the ones that litigated for that, so people can have the right to marry regardless of their gender. And that's why that's that moment that led me to want to be a lawyer.
How old were you when that seed was planted in your head?
Probably like 16, 17.
Okay. Now,
Yeah.
that seed is planted in your head. Did you know what you had to actually do to be a lawyer, like go to law school, the LSAT? Did you have any idea?
Hell no, no way. No, there was zero lawyers in my family. I didn't know any lawyers. So no, I had to do my own research and see what the heck do I have to do to become an attorney.
Now, you were born here, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So I know that you were the first one in your family to be a lawyer. You didn't have a language barrier, right? No?
No, not at that time. No.
Okay. But you had no one else in your family that was a lawyer that could help you out. So you had, what do you call that? Maybe a class barrier or a cultural barrier, which
Absolutely.
a lot of us have had who are immigrants to this country or come from families that are immigrants from this country. My question is, if you have advice for someone who's in your shoes, a young guy out there who wants to be a lawyer, but no one in his family is a lawyer. No one in his family maybe didn't grow up here, doesn't know the system, and they feel the hurdles in front of them are too much for them because not because they're hard to overcome, but because they don't know how to overcome them. What advice do you have for that person?
First one, call me, hit me up. I'm absolutely available. www.jessearanalaw.com. My contact info is there. Hit me up. I absolutely love helping anyone who wants to pursue this career and is afraid to do so or doesn't even know where to begin. Other great avenues are nonprofit bar associations. The way I was able to figure some things out was doing a lot of online research. When I was in college, I was given this opportunity to join. It's called the Plus program. And so that's where they put a lot of minorities into different law schools for a summer. And you meet lawyers, you figure things out, you figure out different types of law. But absolutely, just reach out to anyone, nonprofits. I know our bar association would be happy to answer any questions. But really, in terms of that individual, just don't be afraid. Absolutely, don't be afraid. It's absolutely scary. I get that, but it is worth it. It is manageable. I don't consider myself a genius. I'm a person that if I read something once, it doesn't stick in my head. I got to read it 5 times, and that's fine. I'll just put in that time to read it 5 times. So as long as you're willing to do that, this profession is absolutely manageable and you can obtain it.
Great. Now let's go back. I know you told us about that first case, the hit and run that you argued when you weren't a lawyer. You were in
Yeah.
law school, I believe.
Yeah.
Then you went to the DA's office, and now you're on your own. Throughout your
Yeah.
career, what has been your favorite case and why?
Oh man, that's like asking someone who's your favorite kid.
Well, secretly you have a favorite kid. You just tell us why went wrong with you.
I love all my cases. I'll throw that disclaimer out there, but I remember this one case vividly. It wasn't the crime of the century, but I loved it because of the client. The client was fearless. So my client had a rap. He wasn't a stranger to the system, and they were charging him with violating a domestic violence restraining order. And we did our due diligence. We looked at the case. We did our investigation. I went out to the scene. They alleged that he drove past the victim's home, and so it was like, come on, really? And it wasn't even the victim who was accusing him. It was like the victim's daughter who said, like, yeah, I saw him there. So point being, before we go to trial, they offer him trespass, something small with like 1 year probation or something like that. And I'm like, look, it's a pretty sweet deal, but you have a great defense. You tell me what you want to do. If you go to trial, I can't guarantee you the sentence. The judge decides that if you lose. And he said, you know what? I've got nothing to lose. Let's do it. Let's go to trial. And so he put his faith in me. We did the trial. And when the jury went to go deliberate, this is before COVID, we can hear them and they're cracking up. They're having a great time. And so when I was a prosecutor, I knew that that wasn't a good sign for the prosecutor. And so I already thought like, yes, we're going to do this. And lo and behold, yeah, like within an hour, they come back and NG, not guilty. Client's crying. Like he's been around the block, but he was still crying. And I just loved it. I loved it because he was fearless. I loved it because he put his faith in me and he trusted me. And yeah, it wasn't the crime of the century, but I still worked my tail off to get that result.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So let's get a little bit more personal now, Jesse. Tell us something about you, not as Jesse the lawyer, but Jesse the human being. Tell us something about you that doesn't necessarily need to be a secret, but something that I don't know about you, or our viewers, or people even in the bar association that we don't know about you.
Okay, all right. Well, I mean, I don't know if people know this about me, but people from the South, we love to dance. Like that's just, it's a religion. You got to know how to dance. So I love dancing. I love dancing cumbia. I love dancing merengue, bachata, salsa. So anytime that I get an opportunity to go on a dance floor, absolutely, I love it.
Oh, next meeting we're gonna get you to dance, Jesse. You shouldn't have
Oh,
said
dang.
it.
Yeah, I could put on a CLE, a salsa class or something.
Awesome. Well, you know what? I think we're gonna on our next meeting, I'm gonna bring up that idea. CLE by you on salsa. All right.
Well, salsa, yeah.
Yeah. So, do you have anything else you want to add, or anything else you want people to know about you or your practice?
No. I mean, I'm not shy about if anyone wants to ask me any questions. I'd absolutely love to talk about my history, how my history led to where I'm at now. My wife's pregnant, so we're actually going to have another baby girl. And I love talking about
what number child is this?
number 2.
2? Okay.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah.
When did you do?
Yeah, August.
Oh, August what?
Oh, we don't know.
Oh, you don't know? Okay. Well,
No.
it's gonna be a good summer. Good summer.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tiring summer.
It was awesome talking to you, Jesse. For all the viewers, we're gonna include Jesse's info in the bio. This is gonna be on Instagram, so if you're watching this on Instagram, it's in the bio. YouTube in the bio. So if you guys want to contact Jesse, it's all in there. He said his website once. Say it again.
www.jessearanalaw.com.
And it's gonna
be no enya. There's no spider. My wife's arachnophobic, so I promised her no spider.
It was a pleasure. Let's do this again. Maybe in next year when you're president. And
okay.
I wish you a good day.
Likewise. Thanks, Arash, for having me.